I never really was competitive, so I honestly I always played casual,
Yep.
LOL and first-person shooters and so on. And recently, I started to feel like I want to, expand on computer games, mastering myself more. Kind of a self-mastery thing. I
Yep.
never was into ranked, but I thought like a ranked may be the only way to really improve at this game. So I started ranked, and honestly, I feel like the base level in this game is so high.
Yeah.
It's really hard to really get somewhere, high elo because everyone is so good already. I feel like,
Yeah.
yeah. And the thing is, I was curious and I wanted to learn multiple roles and champions. I really liked like Aurelia, Rhythm, Akali. Although Rhythm especially was very hard. And then I thought, like, I try one account, I play these three, and then another, I play maybe Quinn, Kale, and maybe Yasuo. And on my main, I play like ADC, Ashe, Kaiser, Sivir, and maybe Caitlyn and Misfortune. But the thing is, I don't really have uh, enough time, I think, to get that good with all these roles and champions. I feel like it's
Okay.
because I have a job. It's 6 hours, then 2 hours travel time, and then real life and other stuff. I'm programming sometimes and so on. So I I feel like I'm having trouble with first motivation. I never really was that guy that was that motivated to play League,
Yep.
especially ranked. But I kind of wanted to get better at the same time, and yeah,
Okay.
that's kind of yeah.
Awesome.
And
Yes.
I've
Yep. Keep going.
And yeah, the thing is, last time with Jaden, the second account on EOW, I had two games with ranked where I thought I don't want to play with my mate today, and I lost 2 games, and I thought like I don't know, it's not uh, right now. It doesn't feel like I'm going anywhere, or maybe I'm improving, but it I feel like I don't have a plan, I don't have a direction, or it may be too much to play with all of these accounts
Yeah.
that I can get better.
Okay. Cool. That's a really good recap. That helps me understand a lot. So you're basically doing what a lot of new players to League of Legends do. They just like play all roles, play all champs, and they try and just figure out what they learn, like what they like
Yeah,
to play. So
yeah.
your approach so far is fine in terms of learning the game and just getting an understanding of it. It's a really good approach.
Mm-hmm.
The only
Mm-hmm.
problem is it's very hard to climb with that approach, and so at some
Mm-hmm.
point you need to make that choice of okay, I'm now going to focus on maining one role and a really small
Mm-hmm.
pool of champions. So
Mm-hmm.
the first question is really like, are you ready to settle down on one role, or are you still in that kind of learning phase? Because you're still is this your first season playing, or you played last season as
Yeah,
well?
it was kind of in the fourth season, I think. I played a little bit with other people. It
Yeah.
was for me. It always was a social game, so I never played alone. And I never was good. In the season 4, I think I had 3 CS per minute or something.
Yeah.
I didn't really understand the game. I all, Honestly, I always was more into fighting than CSing. So CS was always one of my weaknesses in the last and I 2 3 years ago I started again with other friends, and yeah, we always played together and so on. And this season I try to play more alone
Okay, got it.
and yeah, get better.
Okay, so I definitely think then you have enough experience to now focus on maining one role because
Mm.
when we look at how to climb, and I assume your goal is to now climb and get better at League of Legends, the quickest and most
Yeah.
productive way to do that is you got to main one role and you need a really
Mm-hmm.
small champion pool, like two
Okay.
champions, three champions max.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
so
Okay.
the first question I guess would be like what role interests you the most? Is it top lane? Is it mid lane? Is it AD carry?
It's top lane is not that much my thing. I think more it's either mid lane or bot lane. In
Okay.
mid lane, I like Kale and Quinn the most. But Quinn is kind of a niche pick. I know there is Captain Quinn. He's Grandmaster and he plays, I think, mostly mid Quinn with Electrocute, Assassin with Brawler's Claw.
Yep.
And yeah, and for bot lane, I think I would say it would be Ashe and Kaiser, my most comfy champions.
Okay. So
Severe was my third, but it's not that comfortable.
yeah, got it. So if I was a coach and I was like, okay, what seems to be your best champions I can see, I would say
Mm-hmm.
your bot lane looks like you could climb easier than your mid lane.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if that's because you duo queue when you play bot lane or if you're solo queue. I'm not sure.
No, my last ranked games I solo queued. I
Okay.
I only do queued last season with my cousin, but honestly, it feels like when we do queued, it felt like there was some I felt like if I lose, I bring him down.
Yeah.
It's like that's the thing. I rather play alone in ranked because it
Got
feels weird sometimes.
Got it. So yeah, I would recommend bot lane, but if you wanted to play mid lane, like if you really enjoyed
Mm-hmm.
mid lane that much more, you could also do mid lane. I just think my
Uh,
reasoning for that is I think you look like you're a slightly better bot lane player, and also
mm,
Kaiser and Ashe are just very decent champions right now, whereas Kale and Quinn are very like niche,
niche
non-meta mid
picks.
lane picks, and
Yeah,
so when we're looking for
yeah, yeah.
improvement and climbing,
Mm.
generally we want to go with that kind of more solid champion pool.
I honestly I think the niche picks are more OTP like more for the OTPs, like if you
Yeah.
only make one,
Yeah,
I
well,
think.
you can one trick anything. It's the thing of just some people just one trick weird champions, but you could one
Mm,
trick a meta champion, for example, and there's nothing wrong with
yeah.
that. But I know what you mean. Yeah, so I think that first question is yeah, is it bot or mid? You've got to kind of got to answer that one.
Mm, honestly, after playing the last game today, I played Quinn and I faced Cho'Gath top. I was mid, and there was a Cho'Gath top. It was on Jaden,
I
the last game, and it was like this Cho'Gath was 8-2 or something, and he was so tanky, and he was just destroying everyone. He was just AFK gameplay, like he did not have to do anything. He just yeah, it
yeah.
destroyed us completely. Like
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the only role that can really deal with something like that is ADC.
Yeah, and you're gonna have some games where the only thing that can deal with something is your mid lane. Like
Yeah,
so, yeah, I think
yeah, that's
you've
true.
raised a good point, but also every role has its strengths and weaknesses.
Weakness,
Yeah,
yeah, that's
exactly.
true.
So
Mm.
I would like you to focus on bot lane, at least for
Mhm,
the rest of this season. I think that would
mhm,
be really important because you're at that stage now where you've really got to like specialize. Think of like school where you learn a lot of
mhm,
broad stuff and then you slowly start to specialize more and more once you find something you like or you're good at.
mm, mhm,
Same thing with league is we need to start specializing because if we keep just trying to learn everything, we're just
mhm,
the game's overwhelming. There's like I don't even
mm.
know how many champions there are, like over 100.
Yeah,
There's so many champions, and if you keep going the way you're going, it's you're gonna lose motivation. You're never gonna feel
uh,
improvement, and you're never going to feel like you have a ranked identity or a playstyle identity because you're just playing so many different champions. And in a game where the way players climb, and it's why the game seems so like difficult and players seem so good, is because a lot of players play a small champion pool and they play those champions for hundreds of games. So you're versing people in bronze, in iron, where they've got 100 games on their Cho'Gath or 100 games on their Jhin, and you're the guy who like has played a bit of Quinn, a bit of Kayle, a bit of Ashe, a bit of Kai'Sa, and then you're versing a guy who has 100 games on a champ and he knows how to play it. He might not be very good at the game. You might be more mechanically skilled, but because he knows his champion, he knows when to go in, he knows when to go out, he knows how not to die, and he knows how to win the game with that champion. So it's a lot of like comfortability and like just memory.
Yeah, that's exactly what I noticed. The bronze player and iron player, they're very good mechanically. Like they know their champion, and if you, I mean that this game, Quinn against this iron Jhin, I misplayed a little bit, and he got first blood on me, you know. And after that, he was pushing in, and I could reverse kill him, but it was one small mistake, and it was over for me.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly, and
Yeah.
I think if you'd been maining Quinn, for 30, 40 games, that those kind of first blood mistakes won't happen because you learn it early on, and then you never do it again. Because really, League of Legends is just learning from mistakes, so you just need to make mistakes and learn, and when we're making mistakes on the same champion over and over again, that's when you learn a lot faster, because you're like, oh shit, okay, when I do this on Ashe, it doesn't work. And then for next game, you're playing Ashe again, so you don't make that mistake. And then you make a new mistake, and you're like, oh shit, okay, so now I don't do this either. Okay, cool. Now third game, you play Ashe again, you don't make those first two mistakes, and now you're like, oh fuck, CSing is so much easier. And then you learn something new, and then your fourth game, you learn another thing. It's not as quick as that, but to give you an idea of why that focus on one or two champions is so important.
Because the learning takes so long that if you part it out on so many champions, it would take an eternity to learn.
Yeah, exactly.
That lever.
And and some players could do what you're doing. Like for example, I play Phil, and I can get to Diamond 1 just playing all roles. But the majority of people can't do that, and I don't think you're someone who can do that. Maybe one day you can.
I mean, right now, not. I'm not very talented at this game, but...
and I guess what's your goal, Frank? Like, what do you want to get to by the first split of this season?
Maybe silver, I think, could be realistic. Honestly, I struggle so hard already, you know? I'm never hard carrying. I mean, some games, okay, I stomped my lane, you know? If I... one Kai'Sa game with my main account, I had a good game with Kai'Sa, but that was a free win because I had a support, Tam Kench, he always engaged them, you know, and they walked up and didn't respect him, and I could just collect the kills. But that's not because I'm so good, you know. It's just like the kills flew to me and said, "Here I am," you know. And honestly, I'm a little bit proud that I didn't die that much to the Kayn in the enemy team, because if I died more to the Kayn in this game, it would have been lost also. But my whole team was winning, and I feel like always when I win, I get carried somehow. You know, my team is just good if I win, and if my team is not good, I lose. It's not like I'm carrying in the ranked.
And this problem will again be solved when you have mastery. Like, how can you expect to carry a game when you don't even know what the champion you're playing? Like, you know what I mean? It's not like Call of Duty where you can get, like, I don't know, like 10 quick scopes in a, you know, like you can't, or like CSGO where you get a whole ace. It's really hard to do that in League of Legends.
That's exactly my problem, you know? I come from a first-person shooter background.
You're too impatient.
I always play shooters. And and I never got that in League, how you can mechanically outperform someone and still lose.
Mm-hmm.
It's like suddenly, they just w- gank you or something. They just cheese you or whatever. Somehow you lose still.
Yeah, and
Even
like
if you, yeah,
yeah, and like in CS:GO, the main objective is to kill the other player, whereas in
yeah,
League of Legends, you could technically not get any kills and still win the game just
yeah,
by playing really good fundamental. Like obviously that doesn't happen, but it's more
yeah,
like
yeah.
you more got to think of kills in League of Legends like an outcome of good play. So a kill will
Mm,
come when you do good things rather than I have to get a kill. It's more the
mm-hmm,
kills will come naturally throughout the game through players' mistakes and through you
mm-hmm,
doing well. Um,
mm. Is it okay? I feel like today I had this thought. Like I'm uh, I don't need to overextend dramatically. Just have to play from the base thought. I just have to play solid, and if the enemy makes a mistake, I can take advantage of it, but not like I don't need to force anything.
Exactly. You don't need to force anything. You don't need to
Mm.
carry every game. And you got to remember the average League of Legends player wins 50% of their games, they lose
Mm.
50%. So
Mm.
when you look at it in that lens, there's going to be a lot of games where you feel like you're useless because
Mm.
some of those games your team's going to win the game for you, and some of those
Yeah.
games, no matter how well you play, you're still going to lose the game. But there's
Yeah.
also going to be those games where you play really badly, you win, or you play really
Mm.
well and you win. And so
Mm.
the big focus we need to do, and this is why I really like one champion, one role, a small champion pool,
Mm.
is we work in the gray zone of like the 10 to 30% of games where you as an individual have a lot of control over. That's
Mm.
the area we need to work in, and that's why we try and get like a win rate of 55%. We can get you
Mm.
to a win rate of 55%, we can get you to silver, we can get you to a rank goal, but
Mm.
we have to start specializing in
Mm.
that small champ pool, and I think Kaiser and Ash is going to be perfect for that.
Mm.
Now, I like that you're focusing on kills almost as your first improvement area, but going to actual proper improvement areas, like where you need to improve right now, is one,
Mm.
you just need volume of games on Kaiser and Ash. Like, I don't actually want
Mm.
you to worry too much about your rank for the next,
Mm.
I would say, 30 games on Kaiser and Ash. Just play
Okay.
them and get comfortable with them and make sure you're making
Mm.
the right choice. So be like, okay,
Mm.
I do actually like Kaiser and Ash because
Mm.
we've only played a few games on them. I've just suggested that you should play these and you kind of have
Mm.
agreed, but let's make sure we're comfortable with them and
Yeah.
see where we can get to.
Yeah, the thing is, from all those champions, Quinn, Kale, Severe,
Yeah,
Caitlyn, and so on, I feel most comfortable on Ash and Kaiser,
good.
honestly.
That's what I love to hear. Okay,
Yeah.
so I'm going to give you actions right now. So the first one is that
Mm-hmm.
30 games. The
Mm-hmm.
second one is we need to focus on your CS per minute. So right now you're averaging
Mm-hmm.
around 4.9 CS per minute. I can see in some of your games 4.8, 5.7, 5.5. So it's getting better. And this is
Mm-hmm.
only going to get better as you play more and more Kaiser and Ash because you get used to it. So I want you to have the goal of trying to get your CS per minute to about 5.5 to 6. So
Okay.
in the first 15 minutes of a game,
Mm-hmm.
your role as an 80 carry is to not get kills, it is to not die, and to last
Uh-huh.
hit as well as possible.
Okay.
Because when you're a new player in 80 carry, your role isn't to engage or to initiate kills, it's to play around your support's aggression. So if your support is really aggressive, like the Tahm Kench, that's when you get a lot of kills. But if you've got a
Yeah.
Soraka support and you try and be aggressive like you were with your Tahm Kench, you're just going to die. So what
Yeah.
I want you to do is focus on the thing you can control, which is your CS,
Mhm.
and then let the support dictate the aggression of the game, and then
Mhm.
you adapt your playstyle to, okay, yep, I'm happy to play aggressive, or no, actually I still want to chill out. And then
Mhm.
you just keep your playstyle to where you want to be and let
Mhm.
the support kind of dictate the kills, because that is really what happens. An AD carry, it's very hard for you as a Kai'Sa or an Ashe to initiate a kill. It has to be your support, because you're the one focusing on CSing. You don't have hard CC, and it's just not your role. And that's why the support's there, basically, is to either protect you or to help you get kills. So that's how I want you to think about laning phase. The real goal for laning phase is to not die and to get as much CS as possible, because CS is your biggest source of income. A lot of people think it's kills, but it's actually good CS. In games like this, like average games, you're going to make more money from your CS per minute rather than your kills. Whereas a lot of people think, oh, 300 gold per kill, that's where I make all my money. It's not. With good CS, particularly if we even get this up, like if we get your CS up from like 4.8 to 6, you're earning an extra 1 to 3k per game, which is like massive amounts of gold, depending on the game lane. So it's also a lot more consistent, right? Because killing a minion is a lot easier than killing a champion.
A champion, yeah.
Yeah. So
it's very inconsistent.
Yeah, so I want that 30 games. I want you to focus on your CS per minute, and I want you to focus on dying less during laning phase. Anything you can do to die less during laning phase, whether you have to give up a whole wave because you're on 20 HP, start dying less in laning phase, and you're going to save yourself. You're going to set yourself up so much better. And they're really the big three things you need to focus on, because I don't have enough information. Like, you've told me a lot, and I think we've gotten as far as we can with what you've told me and what your accounts are showing. We can't really say too much more until we get a good sample size on these champions, and then we understand, okay, what are your problems now that you're actually maining champions? Like, what is your problem with Kai'Sa? What are your problems with Ashe? Because right now we don't know. There could be a variety of problems that you solve in the next 30 games, and there could be a variety of problems that we don't solve. But right now, what you need to do is just play, understand the champions, and then we come back together and we go, okay, what are you struggling with? You're gonna know. You're gonna be like, oh shit, I don't know how to do this. I struggle with this and I struggle with that, and they're gonna be new problems, and then we'll be able to solve them. And that's kind of how league coaching works. Is like, you get a player, like you look at a player's past, okay, and then you give them advice for the next future. Maybe it's 3 months, maybe it's 6 months, maybe it's only a month, depending how quickly they learn. And then you review it and go, okay, what happened? What did you do well? What did you do poorly? Okay, this is what you now need to focus on. And it's kind of like a step-by-step journey of slow improvement. But we need to start that baseline of playing a small champion pool and getting some good data on it and getting a feel for those champions. Does that sound like a plan?
Yeah, that sounds like a good plan. So 30 games on both, right?
Let's do like 20 games on both. I think, given you've got a bit of a life, like you've got a life outside of league, I think maybe 20 games is good on each. Because that's not too much ranked. I mean, if you just split,
I don't know. It's like to motivate myself, I need to see purpose in it, and the last ranked tries, I didn't really see a purpose in it. Maybe it gets better when there is really a plan behind it. Maybe I can motivate myself more.
Yeah.
To play a little bit more. Of course, not 6 games a day, I don't think.
No, you don't. I only play like 1 or 2 games a day anyway. So you don't need to play crazy amounts. And some days I don't play any, and then other days I'll play like 4 or 5.
Depends on the mood.
Yeah, exactly. And don't feel like, if you just really don't feel like playing Ashe or Kai'Sa, that's fine. But just maybe like play it on another account. So with your 3 accounts, like you need to make the choice of, okay, this is going to be the one I climb out of silver. And then you use your other 2 accounts for when you're bored, or when you really want to try Yasuo mid again, or Kai'Sa, or Chaos.
I want to try other roles.
Yeah, exactly.
So
And so we're having an account for climbing, and then we're having an account for learning, is how you kind of want to think about it.
yeah, that makes sense actually. Honestly, I will take the yo with the
Yeah.
because I have the IG Kaiser skin
Yeah, I was
on
gonna
this
say.
account, and it's my favorite skin for Kaiser, and
Yeah,
yeah,
that's why
it's limited.
everyone picks a certain profile because
Uh,
they've got the skins on it. Yeah. No,
yeah,
that makes perfect
yeah,
sense.
that's my AD carry account right there. The others are for the other roles, but this right here is AD carry because of the skin.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Awesome. So yeah, that's really what I want to see. I want to see you play 40 games between Kaiser and Ash. Don't feel like you have to play 20 on each. Like if you really are just enjoying Kaiser, play all 30 or 40 on that champion. But I'm just trying to give you a bit of variability because it looks like you're a person who likes to play a lot of champions. So I'm trying to give you.
I like it, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm,
but
I check of all trades, master of none. It's
exactly.
bad. It's pretty bad.
Yeah, and right now we need that small champion pool just to understand where you are because you've got no identity, you've got no meaningful statistics. It's really hard to analyze what you're good at, what you're bad at.
Yeah, I also have no idea, honestly.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so it's going to be a bit of a discovery, and it's giving you purpose. Now you've got a goal. Play that amount of games on those champs, and then we're going to have a new purpose after that.
That sounds great, and that's exactly what I need. I think, like, yeah.
Awesome. No problem. So what I'd suggest is once you've done those games, come back to me and just let me know how it's going. And then if you're wanting to, we can book like a game review where you're like, fuck, I'm in love with Kaiser or I love Ash.
Yeah.
Like I want to play more and I want to get better. Then we go through a game review of them and we break down everything you're doing throughout a game, laning phase, mid game, late game. And that's when your learning will really start to accelerate. Because right now I'm just giving you general advice and strategy.
Yeah.
But once we've got the strategy down packed and the general advice is underway, that's when we start getting a way more technical and start looking at your actual in-game play.
That sounds great. Honestly.
Awesome.
I liked it.
Cool. And
really liked it.
Yeah, and don't feel like you have to wait until you play those 20 games, like, or 20 games each. Like, feel free to touch base with me in a couple of days after 10 games or, in a week. Like, just DM me whenever on Discord. Let me know how you're going. And when you're ready for that game review, we can just book it in and we can go for it.
Okay. How much is this per game review?
Yeah, so it's 30 US per game review, so it's about 30 euro. Yeah. And then I've also got something that's called a monthly climbing plan if you're interested. That's where like we have a game review every month. We have statistic tracking and then we have game analytics as well. But I think that's a little too advanced for you right now.
Too early, you mean, right?
Yeah.
Because I've not even started.
Yeah, exactly. And you wouldn't. I would be taking your money. You wouldn't be getting value for it. So I think we do this in steps. We make sure you've got the right champion pool, and then if you're ready for something more regular like that, where we are tracking your progress, and we're having monthly sessions, I would only recommend that once you're like, fuck yeah, I love bot lane. I'm ready to play this for the next like 2 seasons, like that kind of attitude. That's when we could look at something like that. But until you have found exactly what you really like, we can just go with this slow pace where we'll have a game review in a couple of weeks or whatever when you're comfortable, and we can go from there.
That sounds great, honestly.
Awesome.
That's the plan. One question, with ranked, in normal game it's not that much of a problem, but in ranked you sometimes get autofilled or especially when you play mid lane. Right now bot lane is very unpopular, but mid lane, mid lane mains, for instance, the secondary role they pick, most often than not, they get their secondary role, and how do you deal with that if you say, I want to, for instance, I want to play bot lane, and I have secondary support, but I always get autofilled support, how do I deal with that, because it can happen. And
Yeah,
for mid laners, it's more.
yeah.
But
So it's a real big problem for mid lane. I think you get filled at maybe 20 to 30% of your games as mid lane, whereas 80
yeah,
carry it's probably in like 5 to 10%.
yeah,
So really all you need to do is just learn a champion on your secondary role. So if you
yeah.
queue up support, you need to learn a secondary. You could queue up
Yeah,
bot and mid, by the
always
way.
Ashe support. I played Ashe support most of the time.
Yeah,
Stay.
that works. And so if you're playing bot lane, you can queue up mid secondary, and because its priority is
Yeah,
so high,
that's what I thought. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So
I
yeah,
did that once.
exactly. Um,
Yeah.
so that's what I've recommended. Then what you need really is a champion you can play for each role. So I'd
Mhm.
recommend like for top lane something really simple like Garen or
Mhm.
I probably Garen is actually the easiest top laner, or Shen, or like
Yeah.
maybe even like Cho'Gath. Cho'Gath's a little weird though. So I'd much rather
Yeah.
something like Garen,
Honestly,
who's
so I'm really a player. I need to like the champion to play
mm,
him,
okay.
and I prefer Kale. Shen I played in the past, but
Okay,
I kind of struggled
you
in the
like
one v
Kale.
ones, honestly, against. But
Okay.
that's long ago. And Irelia
Mm.
kind of, but I'm not.
I want to
I
keep you away from mechanically demanding
Mecha, yeah,
champions
I
like
know.
Riven,
It's like
Irelia, Yasuo,
yeah.
Kale.
Yeah, it's
Let's
like
go with
Riven,
Kale.
I'm really bad. Irelia, I had some improvement. From Akali, Riven, Irelia, I'm best with Irelia, but
Yeah.
but
Let's
Kale, is Kale okay?
Yeah, Kale's okay, and then you can play Kale in mid lane as well if you ever get filled there. And
Yeah.
then for jungle, ideally you got to play something like Warwick, like something very simple.
Honestly, I played. I mean, Shyvana. I
Oh yeah,
always
that's
played in
good.
jungle.
That works
It's
as
my
well.
comfy pick.
Yeah, that's
I,
good then.
you know, I just farm and then with level 6 I mean, sometimes I gank between, but with level 6 it's gank time for me.
Yeah, that's perfect. Well,
It's
then you've
like
got a good plan for that problem you said. So I think you're fine
mm-hmm.
with that.
Mm. Yeah, true.
Awesome. Let's wrap it up now. But if you've got any more
Mm-hmm.
questions, just feel free to shoot them over to me on Discord, and I can answer them.
Thanks.